ॐ स्थावगाय जदरमस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। My Sastang Dandavat pranams at the holy feet of Lord Krishna and Holy Trio. My respectful pranams at the feet of Revered Ishtaprana Mataji. Om Namo Narayan to one and all. Jai Ram Krishna, Jai Sri Krishna. In last satsanga, we had seen that Naradji was told by Bhakti Maharani that I have come to Vrindavan and I have become young now. But my two sons, this Jnana and Vairagya, both are unconscious and they have become old. Please do something. Now Naradji, he thought, okay, let me do something. And Naradji said, okay, hey, Devi Bhakti, please don't worry. I will try my best to awaken both your sons. Naradji said to Bhakti Maharani first, oh Bhakti Maharani, you are such a great. You are as a wife of Lord Sri Hari. And we know that wherever wife goes, husband has to follow. First, you enter into the devotee's heart through ears. There, you clean the place, make the seat ready for Lord Sri Hari. And what happens? Once you make the place ready for Lord Sri Hari, then Lord is bound to come. You are such a great. Certainly, I will make my best. I will try my best to awaken both your sons. Naradji started reciting Gita and Upanishads. But as long as Naradji was reciting these slokas from Gita and Upanishads, her two sons, Jnana and Vairagya, became awakened. But the moment Naradji stops chanting, immediately they become unconscious. Naradji could not understand what to do. Again and again he is chanting. Again and again, as long as Naradji is chanting the slokas from Upanishads and Gita, they are awakened. The moment Naradji stops, they become unconscious. Naradji became totally confused what to do and what not to do. Meanwhile, one ethereal voice came. O Narada, please proceed towards eastern part. Please proceed towards eastern part. You will happen to meet saints. So Naradji said to Bhakti Maharani, hey Bhakti Maharani, please give me some time. I have heard this ethereal voice. I will proceed in eastern side and I will happen to meet with some saints. Then I can do something. Naradji started walking towards eastern side. On the way, many saints came. They also came to know that Jnana and Vairagya became unconscious. They were old. Naradji tried his best. He chanted slokas from Upanishad as well as Gita, but they could not came into consciousness. So Naradji is asking this question to everyone. Saints could not reply, and some saints simply they ran away because they could not answer now. Narada himself did this, and still they have not come into consciousness, then what will happen? Slowly, slowly, Naradji proceeded towards Badrinath, Badrikashram, Badrinarayan. And there he happened to see four rishis. Who are they? Sanak, Sanandan, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumar. Naradji was going hurriedly. All these four saints said, "What happened, Naradji? You are hurriedly passing. What's the matter?" Naradji narrated whole incident. What happened? Then Sanat Kumar said, "Nothing to worry, Narada. You know the answer and you know the remedy." Narada said, "Please tell me then, what is that remedy?" Sanat Kumar said, "See, you only gave Chatushloki Bhagavat to Srimad Vedavyasa. Same Bhagavata, Lord Vyasa has now expanded into 18,000 slokas. Why don't you arrange one Saptaha Katha? That means satsang for 7 days of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is known as a Saptaha Katha of Srimad Bhagavata. If you will arrange Saptaha Katha, Sapta means 7, Katha means Satsanga. Actually, the real meaning of Katha is how God performed this divine play. In Sanskrit, there are various words: Katha, Yatha, Ratha, Tatha. Katha means how God performed this divine play. So, why don't you arrange 7 days Bhagavat Katha? And immediately, both Jnana and Vairagya will become young and they will come into consciousness. Nothing to worry. Remedy is available. Naradji said, "Is it so?" "Yes." "Immediately you start to perform this." Naradji became very happy. It was decided now where to perform Srimad Bhagavat Katha. They found wonderful place at Haridwar on Ananda Ghat, where enough shadows are there of trees, enough places there to sit. So all the rishis were called, big rishis, Brahmins, all tirthas were called, all rivers came, Puranas came, Vedas came, everybody came, Upanishad came, Vedanta came, everybody. All great rishis came, devotees came, everybody gathered. One side, one separate arrangement was made for rishis. One separate arrangements were made for sannyasins. One separate arrangement was made for householder devotees. And everybody sat. And Naradji is sitting in front of Sanat Kumaras. And Sanat Kumar is about to start Srimad Bhagavata Katha. And there, one wonderful, amazing scene happened. What happened? Immediately, one lady came with 2 sons and started to dance in front of all. Everybody got surprised. What's the matter? Rishis are sitting, great tapasvis are sitting, sannyasins are sitting. And who is this lady who is dancing with her 2 sons? Then Sanat Kumar said, "You don't know who is she. She has come from Srimad Bhagavatam. Her name is Bhakti Maharani. She has come with her 2 sons, Jnana and Vairagya." It is written, Bhakti sutahutau tarunam gruhitva premaikarupa sahasa virasit Sri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare Natheti Namani Muhur Vadandi. She started dancing with this chanting, Sri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Sri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare He Nath Narayana Vasudeva. Sri Krishna Govinda Hare Murare He Nath Narayana Yana Vasudeva. Everybody got surprised and everybody felt very happy. See, still Bhagavad Katha has not started. Before it got start, what happened? Immediately Bhakti Maharani manifested from Srimad Bhagavatam with her two sons, Jnana and Vairagya, and she is dancing. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam is depicting, particularly Padma Purana is telling how the bhakti is. It is said, Sakala Bhuvana Madhye Nirdanaste Pidanya Nivasadiridyesham Sri Harir Bhakti Rekha Harirapi Nijalokam Sarvathato Vihaya Pravishati Rididesham Bhakti Sutro Panadah Pravishati Rididesham Bhakti Sutro Panadah. It is said, who is the rich man in this world? Not the one who is having wealth. The one who is rich, in whose heart bhakti has come. Because now bhakti has come, then what will happen? In whose heart the devotion has come. Once the devotion has come, then what happened? Lord Sri Hari will come permanently, giving up his own loka. Sakala bhuvana madhye nirdhanaste pidanya nivasati ridiyesham Sri Harir bhakti reka. Outwardly he may be poor, but he is the wealthiest man because he has got the paramadhana, the wealth which will never go. That is known as a paramadhana. And what is that paramadhana? Supreme wealth. What is that supreme wealth? Supreme wealth is devotion, bhakti. Because once the bhakti comes in the heart, then what happens? Sri Hari will give up his loka permanently. He will not remain in Vaikuntha. Immediately he will come and will sit inside the heart of that devotee. Harirapi nijalokam sarvathato vihaya pravishati hrididesham bhakti sutro panadah pravishati hrididesham bhakti sutro panadah. So he is the wealthiest man in whose heart devotion has come. And once the devotion has come, then means Sri Hari will come permanently and will make his abode inside his heart. He will not remain in Vaikuntha. He will remain in the heart of that devotees in whose heart the devotion has come. And he is the Parama Bhagyashali. He is the wealthiest man in the whole universe. So this is how the significance of Bhakti Maharani is explained. Then Padma Purana said, now listen. Sutaji is telling also to Shaunak Rishis, I will narrate you one incident which happened. Actually, there was one town on the river of Tungabhadra, and that town name was Uttamanagar. There was one river, Tungabhadra. On its bank, there was one small town. It was known as Uttamanagar. And there used to live one Brahmin whose name was Atmadeva. He was very expert in all ritualistic worships. He was expert in Srauta and Smarta Karma. He was expert in philosophical work also, as well as in ritualistic worship also. He had his own wife. Her name was Dhundali. And he was wealthiest Brahmin. He had everything: name, post, power, position, wealth, everything. But as usual, in world, in this samsara, people will not have everything. They will be in lack of something or other, always. So this Brahmin was also had some problem, and the problem was he did not have any child. He did not have any issue from his wife. So he always used to remain morose and sad. See, this is the world. It is apurna. This world is not purna. That is why Sri Krishna says in Gita, Anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvama. O Arjuna, this world is apurna and this world is anitya. That's why you, when you have come to this world, just keep on repeating my name only. You will not find purnatva, means fulfillment in this world, because this world is apurna. It is not purna. We chant, Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. So this world is totally apurna. You can't get all happiness and always happiness in this world. It is impossible, because this world is continuously changing. The one which continuously keeps on changing cannot give us happiness. So Krishna is telling, oh Arjuna, when you have got such kind of world, always keep it in mind, you can never be happy in this world. If you want happiness, joy, and bliss, come and repeat my holy name. Anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvama. Now, we shall see this part of this incident. Atmadev was a Brahmin. He had a wife, Dhundli, and this Dhundli, she was very expert, in performing her household duties. She was very beautiful. She was from very good family, and she had a habit of doing gossip. She used to finish his household work very quickly, then used to do gossip a lot. She was worldly wise, and she was always suspicious for anything and everything. That was her characteristic. Now, this Brahmin and his wife, both of them, they started to do some charitable work to have a child, but that did not give any fruit to them. At last, this Brahmin, he became very sad. He went to forest and he wanted to commit suicide. Immediately, he happened to see one monk over there. He went to that monk, did pranams, and narrated his problem. This monk said, "O Brahmana, listen, you are so intelligent. You are expert in Srauta and Smarta Karma. According to me, you will not have any child in this birth. Not only in this birth, in coming 7 births, you will not have any child. And it is good, whatever condition has God has given to you, accept it. It is good for you. Whatever situation has come to us, it is good for us. God wants that you should perform good actions and you should get liberation by your own actions. That is why God has not given you any child." Now, see, here comes a little bit philosophical meaning. We all feel that we are in lack of certain things in this world. People keep on complaining, my better half is not good, whether he or she. Our children are not good. My friends are not good. My in laws are not good. My neighbors are not good. We keep on complaining about others. And we keep on complaining about the outer situation. We do not understand that whatever situation has come to us, that situation is good for us. Accept it and make it proper use, make the proper use of that situation. We do not take the situation in positive way. As a result, we keep on shouting at outer situation. We keep on brooding over the situation. That is not the way to live the life. Let us see the example of three great saints: Sant Tukaram, Sant Ekanath, and Narsimha Mehta. Sant Ekanath, he had a good wife. She used to help him in his spiritual life. She used to always support him, Sant Ekanath, in his spiritual journey. So Sant Ekanath used to go to Lord in temple and used to pray, "Oh Lord, really you are so great. You have given me good wife, so I am able to repeat your holy name continuously without any problem. I am so thankful of you. Oh Lord, you are so gracious, so gracious." Now come to Sant Tukaram. Tukaram, he had a very quarrelsome wife. She used to always quarrel with Tukaram. And she used to call our Krishna as a black man. She used to speak this word, Karya. It's a Marathi word. Karya means black person. So she used to call Krishna with this title, Karya. Now Tukaram, he used to pray to Lord, "Oh Lord, you are so gracious that you have given me quarrelsome wife. It is good that I have got such kind of wife. So I am getting continuous renunciation from this world. I am able to understand there is no joy in this world. I must not get attracted towards the world and worldly enjoyments. I am so grateful to you. You have given me very good wife. She is continuously quarreling with me, so I am getting renunciation from this world. I am thankful of you." Now let us see the example of Narsimha Mehta. Narsimha Mehta, his wife passed away, children also died. So Narsimha Mehta said, "Oh God, you are so gracious to me. Now I have no more bondage of wife and children. I can repeat your holy name in without any tension. I am so happy that you have given me such a wonderful condition, so I should not be bothered for anybody. I will now continuously repeat your holy name." Now see the example of these three saints. They did not change outer condition. Rather, they bring the change in their attitude. Change should come from within. See, generally we get disturbed by three things. First is things outside, second is persons outside, and third is thoughts inside. So when we find that situations are not favorable, situations are all in adverse condition, doesn't matter. Let us bring the change in our own attitude. And when change comes from within, that is called a real change. We cannot change conditions outside, but we can change our own attitude. So let us change our own attitude. That is what our scriptures are telling us. For example, when torrential rains are coming, and if we have to go out, what do? We cover ourselves properly with raincoats and so with some other items also, and we perform our work. Similarly, when situations are adverse outside, then let us bring the change from within. That is what our scriptures are telling. Here, Sannyasin wanted to tell the same thing to this Atmadeva Brahman. Oh Brahmana, please listen. It is good that you don't have any children. Those who are having children, you go and ask them whether they are happy or not. It is good that God has not given you children. So you can perform good actions and you can make the path of liberation for your own self through your own actions. You are blessed. Now Atmadev Brahmin said, "O Sannyasina, I have not come to listen this Upadesha, this philosophical teachings from you. You please bless me so I can have a child. Otherwise, I am going to commit suicide in front of you." And he was ready to commit suicide. Sannyasi, his heart is full of compassion. So he said, okay, don't commit suicide. I am giving you one fruit. Go to your house and make sure that your wife should eat it. And tell her, after eating this fruit, she will start to conceive. And ask her not to speak lie for 1 year. She has to remain pure through body, mind, and thoughts. She has to do fasting every day for 1 year. And another thing, she should not do any gossip with anybody. Tell her to follow these rules. Atmadev Brahmin became very happy. He came back hurriedly to his house and said to his wife, see, I have got a boon from sannyasi. I have got boon from a monk. He has given us this wonderful fruit. You please eat it. Through this fruit, you will start to conceive. And yes, ask you to follow this guideline for 1 year. Please follow it. And Atmadev went out. Now, this Dhundali, the wife of Atmadeva, she was, her nature was continuously put doubts on others. So she started to think, how can I start to conceive after eating this fruit? It is impossible. My husband has lost his mental balance, certainly. And even if I become pregnant, then what will happen? Once I am pregnant, then I will lose my beauty. And suddenly, if there is a fire in this village, everybody will run. But since I am pregnant woman, I can't run. And I can't go to anybody's house and I can't do gossip. No, it's something wrong. So she consulted her own sister and narrated the whole thing. Her sister said, why do you bother? I am already pregnant. Whosoever will take birth from my womb, secretly I will send that child to you. You just start to do drama as if you are a pregnant woman. Don't worry. My husband will secretly send that child to you. She said, it's a very good idea. But what about this fruit? What should I do? She said, why? It's very easy. Just in your house, there is a cow. You just give this fruit to cow. Cow will eat it. Yes, very good idea. And Dhundali followed the same thing. Now what happened? After a few months, this Dhundali's sister, she gave birth to a small son, child. And that child was secretly brought to Dhundali's house. And Dhundali said, yes, my name is Dhundali, so I will name this child as a Dhundukari. Now, the fruit which was given to cow also gave birth to a human child, remember. And that child was also a son child. And everybody got surprised. What's the matter? That cow has given birth to a baby child. Everybody started to rejoice. People are telling, see, Atmadev Brahmin, he did not have any child. Now he has got two children, two sons. Now Atmadeva said, okay, this baby has come from the cow. So I will name this baby as a Gokarna. Go means cow, that means sky. And Karna means the one whose ears are like cow. That is why he is known as Gokarna. Since that child came out from cow, so he had ears of cow. Otherwise, everything was similar to human being. So they named him as a Gokarna. Now Dundali has two children, two sons, Dundukari and Gokarna. Now let us try to understand the philosophical meaning of this whole incident. Tungabhadra river, on the bank of Tungabhadra river, there is a Uttamanagar. Tungabhadra river is this Sansara. This world is known as a Tungabhadra because however we curse this world, unless until we come to this world, we cannot get liberation. And what is meant by Tungabhadra? The one which brings good to us is known as Tungabhadra. So this Sansara brings good to us. Whether it teaches us good lesson or bad lesson, whether something good happens to us or something bad happens to us, that doesn't matter. How we take that incident, that is most important. Because continuously this world is teaching us a lesson. So that is why this Tungabhadra river is nothing but this Sansara. Uttama Nagara. Uttama Nagar is this our human body. However we speak that Brahma Satya Jaganamitya Jivo Brahmaiva Napara. Brahma Satya Jaganamitya we can recite. But unless until we are having this human being birth, we cannot get liberation. Animals, birds, insects, they cannot get liberation. Only human beings can get liberation. So that is why this human birth is most important. Bhagavan Adya Shankaracharya says, Durlabham Trayametat Daivanugraha Hetukam Manushyatvam Mumukshatvam Mahapurusha Sansraya. Three things we got by the grace of God only. And what are that? Having human being, having born as a human being, to have a human birth. Second is to have a guru, proper guru. And third is desire for liberation. Desire to get liberation from the cycle of this birth and death. So we are blessed that we have got human birth. Because in this human birth only, we can get liberation. Had we got any other birth, for example, birds, insects, or animals, we can't strive for liberation. We can't perform any new actions. Even if we have got the birth of devatas, that is angels, we can't get liberation. It will come in Bhagavatam. We will see also that time. Devatas, they are exhausting their good karmas. And these animals, birds and insects, and these plants, they are exhausting their bad karmas. New karma, only we can perform new actions. That freedom has given to only human beings. That is why human birth is most important. We can change our own nature. Animals cannot change their nature. Birds cannot change their nature. Insects cannot change their nature. Devatas cannot perform any new actions. We only can perform new actions. And that is why human birth is most important. That is why it is said, to have a human birth, it's God's grace only. And we can select Guru. Guru must be there. Spiritual master should be there, who will give us mantra, who will show us the sadhana, the spiritual practices, what are to be performed. And then at last we must have a desire for liberation. So this Uttama Nagar is this whole human body. Now we are all as Atmadeva Brahmin. We have got married with our intellect. And that intellect's name is Dundali. Dundali means suspicious. Having doubt on everything, on everybody. You know, our intellect is full of suspicious. We look at others with suspicion. Oh, why he is talking to me? Why he is telling to these words to me? Is it possible by listening Bhagavatam shall we get liberation? Is it true? See, we all have a full faith on doctors' prescriptions, but we don't have faith on our own scriptures. Scripture is telling, don't worry, you are having problems in this samsara. Doesn't matter. Start to think about Bhagavatam. Start to read Bhagavatam. Start to listen Bhagavatam continuously. You will be out of misery. Your misery will be vanished. Bhagavata says, come and take the shelter of Bhagavatam. And you will be able to renounce everything at a stretch. These three things will come. These three things will come when you will take shelter at the feet of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, let us put trust on our scriptures. Now, this Atmadeva Brahman went to Sannyasin and Sannyasi gave a fruit. That means what? He gave blessings. And we do not have a full trust on the blessings of holy people. And we start to, put doubts. How is it that he will bless and we will have something good in our life? Is it possible? Continuously we are doubting. And as a result, because of this doubt, what happened? We do not have faith on the blessings of holy people. This is who is Atmadeva, who is Dundali, what is Uttama Nagara, and what is Tungabhadra river. Now, who is a Gokarna and who is Dhundukari? Gokarna means the one who is continuously hearing scriptures through his ears. Go means Upanishads. Go means holy scriptures. The one who is always eager and is continuously hearing only Hari Katha is known as Gokarna. As time rolls, Dhundukari became immoral person. He started to steal from others' house. Not only that, he started to throw small children into the well. He started to put fire on somebody's house and started to torture people for money. He started to beat his own parents for the sake of money. One day it happened so, he wanted to beat his mother like anything. And out of fear, this Dhundali, she committed suicide by jumping into the well. And this Atmadeva Brahmana, he simply ran away from the house. And he came to the Gokarna and said, Gokarna, I am very much pained by the behavior of this Dhundukari. See, he is torturing me like anything. Now I want to have a peace of mind. Had I listened that sadhu's teachings, that God has, whatever situation God has given to me, it was good for me. Had I believed that, this would have not happened to me. Now I'm so much pain. Please give me some way. Show me some good path. And then Gokarna says, Father, don't worry. I'm telling you two teachings. And that two teachings are known as the Gokarna Gita. What are that? He says, Dehestiman sarudire vimaditya jatvam जाया सुतादिषु सदा ममतां विमुञ्च पश्य निशं जगदिदं क्षणभङ्गनिष्ठं वैराग्यरागरसिको भव भक्तिनिष्ठ धर्मं भजस्व सततं त्यज लोकधर्मान् सेवस्व साधु पुरुषान् जहि कामतृष्णाम् अन्यस्य दोषगुणचिन्तनमांसु मुक्त्वा सेवा कथारसमहो नितरां पिबत्वम्. Father, now you give up all your attachments from this body. Dehastimans arudire bhimati tyajatvam. Jaya sutadisu mamatam sada vimuncha. Give up affection, attraction from your wife, children, and your relatives. Embrace renunciation and continuously start to hear your Hari Katha. Father, don't see anybody's faults as well as good qualities also. Because today, if you will start to see bad qualities in somebody, tomorrow you will start to see good qualities also in that person. Today, if you will start to criticize somebody, tomorrow you will start to praise the same person whom you were criticizing. And this is the experience of all of us. Anyasya dosha gunachintanamaansu muktva. Oh Father, please don't see anybody's fault. And don't see anybody's good qualities also. Ignore both good and bad. And see the God behind that person. All of us know Sri Sarada Devi, what she said, Mother Sarada Devi said, if you want to have a peace of mind, do not find fault with others. Rather see your own faults. The whole world is your own. No one is a stranger. So Father, don't find fault with anybody. Don't criticize anybody. Because today, whomsoever you are criticizing, tomorrow you will start to praise him. Give up all your loka dharmas and start your journey for Paramartha, for spiritual life. Enough of enough, Father. Start to repeat holy name of God continuously. Do service to the devotees of Lord, to the sannyasins and to the ashramas of Lord, and remain absorbed. Sorry. Remain absorbed in Hari Katha. Atmadev Brahmin performed that thing and he got liberation by continuously reciting 10th skanda, 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now here what happened with Dhundukari? Dhundukari, he became immoral person also. So he brought 5 prostitutes in his house and started to feed all 5 prostitutes. Now to satisfy these 5 prostitutes, he started to steal from wealthy people's house. One day, he brought so much jewelry after stealing. And these 5 prostitutes, they thought, if he will be caught, we will be also caught. So better to kill him. All the 5 prostitutes, they killed Dhundukari and they simply buried him. They did not even do cremation. They simply buried him and they ran away. Now, what is the philosophical meaning of these 5 prostitutes? We are all having these 5 tanmatras with us. What are that? Sabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Khanda. Shabda means sound. Sparsha means touch. Rupa means this form. Rasa means taste. Gandha means smell. Every jiva is staying with these 5 things. We are, fascinated by somebody's voice. If you don't take another way, male are fascinated by female's voice, vice versa. So sabda, sparsha, people want to touch opposite sex person because they get temptation. We must have a touch of divinity only. Let me have a touch of my Guru. Let me have a touch of divinity. That is the goal of life. That is most important. So touch is very dangerous. Sabda sparsha rupa, form. We get attracted by other people's beauty. So scriptures are telling, beware, beware, that beauty is very false beauty. That is not a real beauty. Real beauty comes through spirituality only. Yes, Sri Ramakrishna, when he was performing puja, and when he was coming out from his house, and when he was going to Dakshineshwar temple, people used to look at him with, eyes broadened. Sri Ramakrishna said, why people are looking at me? Then his nephew Hriday said, Mama, you are looking so beautiful, so beautiful. Sri Ramakrishna went to mother and said, oh mother, I don't want outer beauty, I want inner beauty. Mother, please give me inner beauty. I don't want outer beauty. And we are all, fascinated by outer beauty. That is called a rupa. And another is the rasa. We want to taste always some good sweets and some tasty food. That is called rasa. And gandha. We want to smell opposite person's body continuously. So this 5 sabda, sparsa, rupa, rasa, gandha is known as 5 person has to this 5 tanmatras if he wants to lead spiritual life. Now Dhundhukari was killed, and this Dhundhukari, he became ghost. Now Gokarna, he was visiting various places of pilgrimage. He heard the news of Dhundhukari's death. So he performed final rites, that means Sraddha Karma for Dhundhukari, and came back to his own village, Uttamanagara. One day this Dhundhukari appeared in front of this Gokarna and said, my dear brother, I am your brother, Dhundhukari. I have become ghost. Please make me free from this body. I am suffering like anything. Gokarna said, okay, tomorrow I will ask Brahmins and great scholars what is to be done to make you free from this, the body of ghost. Next day, Gokarna consulted scholars, Brahmins, saints, and everyone. They all said, nothing to worry. Perform 7 days Bhagavat Katha. He will be free from that ghost body. Immediately, Gokarna started Srimad Bhagavat Katha. All villagers were called. Everyone was invited. And Gokarna started this Bhagavat Katha. Now, Dhundhukari also came into that Bhagavat Katha. Now, Dhundhukari is in the body of ghost. So, what he did, he entered into the bamboo. When bamboo was put in that Bhagavat Katha, so he entered into the bamboo. And we know that, bamboo has a 7 knots. What are that 7 knots? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, and Avidya. These 7 knots. Philosophical meaning of 7 knots. So Dhundhukari entered into that bamboo and he started to listen that Bhagavat Katha with rapt attention. From that bamboo tree, and in a new form he became Vishnuduta and Pushpak Viman. Pushpak Viman came from Vaikuntha. Vishnuduta came from Vaikuntha to take Dhundhukari. He is now as a Vishnuduta. So when Gokarna happened to see all this, Gokarna said, why you are taking only Dhundhukari? All other village people have also heard this Bhagavad Katha. Why are you not taking all of them to Vaikuntha Loka? Vishnuduta said, we can't take all of them to Vaikuntha Loka, because the way in which Bhagavad Katha is to be listened, in that way only Dhundhukari has done. Others simply came, they sat, but they did not grasp anything of this Bhagavad Katha. That's why they are not liberated. And only Dhundukari has got liberation. So Gokarna said, if I perform second time this Bhagavad Katha, will you give liberation to all of them? If they follow this process of Sravana, Manana and Nididhyasana? Vishnudutta says, certainly all of them will be liberated if they follow proper discipline, how to listen Bhagavad Katha. Very nice. Again, Bhagavad Katha was started. Again, it was performed. All villagers, they listened with rapt attention. They followed this discipline of Sravana, Manana and Nididhyasana. Sravana means to hear. Manana means to recollect. And Nididhyasana means to meditate upon it. They heard, they started to recollect, and they kept on meditating on it. And as a result, after 7 days, they got liberation. After 7 days, again Vishnudutta came, and all of them were liberated. All of them were taken to the Vaikuntha Loka. And this is the Bhagavata's greatness. Whosoever listens it in a proper manner with a Sravana, Manana and Nididhyasana, he will get a liberation. And that is why Padma Purana says, Asare sansare vishaya vishasanga kuladiya kshanartam kshemardam pibata sukagata tulasudha kimartam vyaradambo Vrajata kupade kutsita kade parikshita sakshiyat sravana gata muktyukti kathane. O Manav, why are you putting doubt on it? This world is impermanent. In this impermanent world, when Parikshita, King Parikshita was cursed that after 7 days he will die. So what he did, he simply sat at the holy feet of Lord Shukadeva and listened this wonderful Bhagavata Katha and got liberation. You also do the same thing, because when our death will come, we don't know. Out of 7 days, 1 day is also fixed for us. From Monday to Sunday, 1 day is also fixed for us. At least King Parikshita knew that on 7th day his death will come. We don't know when our death will come. So let us repeat Harinama. Let us listen continuously this Bhagavata Katha. And what happens continuously this by listening this wonderful Bhagavata Katha? We get liberation. 3 things happen with us once we listen this Bhagavatam. First is, we will be out of fear. We are all having fear of death, We are all having fear that I will lose my wealth. We are all having fear that I will lose my name, fame, post, power, position, wealth, whatnot. Bhagavata says, don't worry, come and take shelter of Lord Krishna, or take shelter at the feet of Lord Srimad Bhagavatam, and you will be out of fear. You will not have a fear. Second is, you will be out of any doubt. Your doubts will be removed. Nisansaya, nirabhayata. Second is nihasansayata. You will not have any doubt. Sansaya rakshasana mahastram yami gurum sharanam bhava vaidyam. When Swami Vivekananda composed wonderful yam on Sri Ramakrishna, he says, Sansaya rakshasa. Sri Ramakrishna came and killed the demon of doubt. So this scripture, this holy Srimad Bhagavatam, what it says that I will kill all your doubts in spiritual life. Don't worry, please come. So Bhagavatam gives us nihasansayata. And third is, it will prepare us, it will make us ready to renounce anything and everything as per our wish. And once we renounce, we are the most happiest man. You may say, Swamiji, we do not want to renounce. We are householders. How can we renounce? A renunciation of lower enjoyments. Renunciation for the desire of name, fame, post, power, position and wealth. This is to be renounced. Where shall we go in the world? We can't go anywhere. The renunciation means this. Renunciation means renunciation of our ego, renunciation of our lower desires. And Bhagavatam will make us to renounce all these things. So these three things comes by continuously hearing of Srimad Bhagavata Katha. Now, that is why when Padma Purana is showing the greatness of Srimad Bhagavatam, Padma Purana says how it is. Swarge satye cha kailase vaikunde nastyayam rasa atappi bandhu sadabhagya mama munchata garehichi. You will not find the juice, the rasa, the ananda, the bliss which you are getting in Srimad Bhagavatam. You will not get in Satyaloka. You will not get in Vaikunta. You will not get in Kailasha also. The bliss and the joy which you are getting by hearing Srimad Bhagavata Katha. See, this is the greatness of Srimad Bhagavatam. And when this Katha was continuously going on at Haridwar, Ananda Ghata, just now we saw. So, Sanat Kumara were telling this Bhagavata Katha. Naradji was there. And what happened? Suddenly Lord came, Lord Srihari came. And what happened? Nagahagata Sucha Sarva Bhaktai Revistvaya Bhavya Midi Prayatnat Manoradoyam Paripuraniya Stadeti Choktvam Tardi Yatachyutah. God came immediately and said, I am very much pleased by your devotion. Please ask for a boon. Please ask for a boon. Immediately all devotees got up and performed puja of Lord Sri Hari, and they said, God, please give us only one boon. In future, wherever and whenever this Bhagavad Katha will be conducted, you will come with all your Parshadas and give the liberation to all devotees whenever and wherever this Bhagavad Katha will be conducted in future. Lord Sri Hari raised both his hands and said, Tathastu, Tathastu. So it is said, whenever there is a Bhagavata Katha, what happens? Lord Sri Hari comes with his own Parshadas, with his own disciples. He comes and sits in our heart, and he gives us joy. He awakens Jnana and Vairagya inside our heart. This is the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam. And that is why our scriptures are telling, oh Manava, no need to read any scriptures, no need to listen anything. Keep on listening continuously Srimad Bhagavatam. That is why it is said, Pravishtaha Karnarandrena Swanam Bhava Saroruham Dunoti Samalam Krishna Salilasya Yatha Sharat. When autumn comes, what happens, you know? Our trees, they start to get new leaves. And when Sharad Rutu comes, all the water tanks will be with new water. All the rivers, they will have a new water. In the same way, when we start to hear Hari Katha, what happens? The bad things which are in our heart, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Madam and Matsarya, that will be wiped out by this Hari Katha, and our mind will become pure and we will immerse in divine joy. This is what today, now from next satsang, we will enter into the 10th skanda, 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where it is depicted how Lord has taken birth. Thank you so much. All the best. Jai Ram Krishna, Jai Sri Krishna.